Yo, what's up guys, welcome to my humble YouTube channel where I bring you fanfiction that will brighten your days. Before we start, a subscribe is greatly appreciated, and don't forget to leave a like and ring the bell icon so you won't miss exciting new fanfiction stories. Tensura. Melting the Eternal Frost by JackDaWeb Chapter 2 New Evolution. Rimuru's Pav EHHH? Eldest sibling? Living true dragons? I just recently found out that Veldora has an older brother from what he said earlier, but I guess he has more siblings. He said he has an eldest brother, and the beautiful woman in front of me whose name is Velzard, is his eldest sister, I suppose. I should ask Raphael Sensei about the true dragons since I never actually asked Veldora about them before. Raphael, what are true dragons? Answer. The true dragons are the highest existence in all of creation and are nigh invincible. They are avatars representing the forces of nature and serve as the pillars of creation. Whoa, so they're at the very top of this world's hierarchy. Hee, I'm pretty lucky to have Veldora on my side then. Also, Velzard said, the 3 living true dragons, didn't she? Does that mean there were more in the past? There are only 4 true dragons in existence. The first is the Star King Dragon, Veldora. He was responsible for the creation of the multiverse and is the eldest and strongest among the 4. The second eldest and also second strongest of the true dragons is the one standing before you right now, the White Ice Dragon, Velzard. Next would be the Scorch Dragon, Velgrand, who resides in the east. And lastly, the youngest of the 4, the Storm Dragon, Veldora. The reason Velzard mentioned being the eldest among the living true dragons is that Veldora died quite some time ago already and has yet to resurrect in the present day. Wait. This is so much new information. So you're saying that Veldora's eldest brother, who is also Milam's father, is the creator of the multiverse? That honestly explains so much about her ridiculous level of strength. She is quite literally the child of the creator. Veldora being the youngest makes sense. He is childish as hell. Velzard is the second eldest of the 4, but since Veldora is currently dead, that would in fact make her the eldest living sibling. Hold on, the word sibling keeps being thrown around. Are they all related? Raphael, are all the true dragons siblings? Answer. While they are not related by blood since the true dragons are spiritual beings, they all consider each other as siblings. I see. This is all good to know. Thank you, Raphael Sensei. You're welcome, Master. Also, Velzard mentioned something about stopping time. Is that what happened earlier when I suddenly lost all sensation? And how am I able to move in stop time now? Yes. When Velzard activated Time Stop, Master had lost all sensation as well the ability to move. However, I remained unaffected and quickly began analyzing the phenomenon. After carefully observing those who could move in stop time, I deduced that they were manipulating something known as information particles. While observing these particles is a trivial matter, being able to interact with them directly in order to move in stopped time is far more difficult. Combining and altering skills are examples of limited manipulation of these particles, but it isn't enough. Fortunately, a breakthrough came from Veldora. He eventually managed to manipulate his own information particles, allowing him to interact with the world of stopped time and thus regain the ability to move. By observing how he accomplished it, I was able to do the same and successfully evolve Masters into a digital life form, a being with a nature capable of manipulating and interacting directly with information. Amazing. Once again, you remind me of how incredible you are, partner, ha. I sometimes think that you might even be too good for me. Nonsense. I exist solely for you, Master. Hearing her response warmed my non-existent heart and I smiled. Raphael has done so much for me already and I don't know if I could get this far without her aid. Even though she's a part of me, I treat her as an individual with their own agency. I wonder if I should give her a name. I'll think of one later since I'm probably spacing out again. Foo, you seem to be lost in thought, Rimuru-san. Velzard said teasingly. Sigh, I really was spacing out again. Ah, sorry about that, Velzard-san. I was just thinking about something that Veldora said to me earlier. I said, slightly embarrassed as I scratched the back of my head. Era, would you mind telling me what it is? Velzard asked curiously and Veldora quickly tensed up. Oi! What are you talking about, Rimuru? Veldora asked me somewhat nervously. Is he scared of his sister or something? That thing you said earlier about Milam being your elder brother's child. Velzard-san here is your eldest sister. I was somewhat surprised that you had siblings. I replied casually with a shrug. Is that so? I guess I never mentioned it before today. Veldora said with a sigh of relief while looking like his soul was about to leave his body. Foo. You should have told your friend more about your family, Veldora-kun. Velzard said jokingly, causing Veldora to tense up again. Well, Rimuru never bothered asking me about it. I got unsealed just recently actually, and before that happened I spent the majority of my time in Rimuru's subspace. He replied sheepishly while scratching the side of his head. So I take it that Rimuru is the one who helped you break your seal then? She asked with an expectant look, seemingly already knowing the answer to her question. Yes. It took 2 years to do, but that was quicker than expected. Rimuru estimated that it would have taken at least a century or so. However, thanks to his evolution, the time was shortened by a lot. He replied with a proud look on his face. Velzard smiled and nodded in satisfaction, and then her gaze turned to me. I give you my thanks, Rimuru Dono. I was initially worried that Veldora-kun breaking free from his seal would mean he'd go on another rampage around the world. But it appears that he's matured a bunch, so there's nothing to worry about. I trust that you'll be keeping a watchful eye on him from now on, she said with a grateful tone. No problem, Velzard-san. And yes, don't worry about Veldora, under my watch he won't be doing any rampaging. I said flustered as I scratched the back of my head. She then took some steps away from the barrier and raised her right fist in the air. I've taken enough of your guys' time, I'll let you resume your battle. Good luck, you two, she said before opening her fist. All colors returned to the world and time began moving once again. Velzard then waved at us before teleporting beside one of the doorways. This display showed me just how powerful she really is. I have to be careful not to get on her bad side. When time had resumed, everyone was none the wiser, except for those who were able to move. I scanned the room and saw a confused Milam. She must be wondering how Veldora suddenly got to where I am, since from her perspective, time wasn't flowing and it would have looked like he teleported next to me. But then again, she might be able to move and was just pretending not to. Continue distracting Milam, Veldora. I've got some nuisances to deal with, I said with a serious tone. Kuahahahahaha. You got it, Rimuru. Just don't forget your promise, he replied in affirmation as he extended his fist out to me. I responded with a fist bump and we went off on our separate ways. Third-person paw of Veldora and Milam continued with their friendly sparring session, with the latter not caring about the fact that she was supposed to pretend to be in control and was now just having fun. Rimuru proceeded to deal with Clayman's 9-head fox and lifted the curse he placed on the creature. Beretta destroyed his toy doll with minimal problems, and Shion absolutely bodied the hell out of Clayman, proving that he was all bark and no bite, since a mere subordinate of the new Demon Lord managed to beat him with no difficulty. Milam then revealed to everyone that she wasn't being controlled the whole time and was merely acting the part. This surprised a lot of the people in the room, especially the gullible demon slime. To add to the slime's shock, Carrion came out of hiding and turned out to be alive and completely fine. All this revelation was too much for Clayman, causing him to snap as he threatened everyone who betrayed him. But his threats were meaningless as Shion proceeded to dismember him, leaving his still-living body helpless on the ground. Guy dispelled the barrier and shrunk the room back to its original size. All the demon lords gathered around Clayman's dismembered body while their attendants and Velzard stayed put by the doorways. The white ice dragon concealed her aura to the point that she was practically invisible to everyone in the room who hadn't noticed her yet. The demon lords were all jovial and carefree, discussing the events that took place before a burst of magicules suddenly sprung from Clayman's body. He forcefully activated his demon lord awakening and everyone quickly backed off. However, they still didn't perceive him as much of a threat. Rimuru offered to get rid of Clayman in order to solidify his position and seat among the demon lords. Erecting a barrier similar to the one Guy put up earlier, he trapped Clayman and himself inside. The battle was less of a clash between two formidable foes and more like a single ant trying to take down a human. In the end, Clayman refused to give up the names of the people he was working with or for, and was subsequently devoured by Rimuru's ultimate skill, Lord of Gluttony, Beelzebub. The defeat of the Marionette Master cemented Rimuru's title as a demon lord, and his display of power earned him the respect of the others. Walpurgis continued without a hitch and 3 major changes were made. The first was the demon lords Carrion and Frey stepping down from their position and offering to become the subordinates of Milam, much to her surprise. The second change was the entirety of the Great Jura Forest officially becoming the territory of Demon Lord Rimuru Tempest, with the Storm Dragon acting as its guardian deity. And lastly, with only 8 demon lords sitting at the council, their current name of 10 Great Demon Lords no longer sufficed. After some convincing from Guy Crimson, Rimuru reluctantly agreed to give them a new name. On that night, the Demon Lord Council would now be known under the name Octagram, the 8-star Demon Lords. Their members consisted of the following people along with their respective titles. Guy Crimson, Lord of Darkness, Milam Nava, Destroyer. Ramirez, Labyrinth Fairy, DeGruel, Earthquake, Luminous Valentine, Queen of Nightmares. Dino, Sleeping Ruler, Leon Cromwell, Platinum Devil. Rimuru Tempest, Soul Devourer. The title of Soul Devourer is one that Rimuru gave himself. Having noticed his ability which pertained to consumption, the other demon lords agreed to it. With all the major changes out of the way, the Walpurgis meeting concluded and was followed by the Great Banquet. Luminous Valentine and Leon Cromwell didn't want to stay and left as soon as the meeting ended while the rest stayed behind for the feast. Velzard's paw of the meeting had now come to an end. I refrained from joining the banquet and continued observing things from the side. Safe to say, I don't regret coming here since many interesting things happened. I managed to meet my little brother again and witnessed his personal growth, which was a pleasure to see. But just as interesting as Veldora's improvement is the newly seated demon lord, Rimuru Tempest. He was able to move in the suspended world not long after Veldora did, which is an incredible achievement worthy of praise. He helped Veldora escape his seal and even contributed to his growth as a person. And I can tell from their dynamic that these two are really close, especially since Veldora even calls him his sworn brother. I wonder if it'd be a good idea to accompany these two back to their nation. There's not much for me to do in the ice continent anyway, and I have a very good feeling that something major is about to happen in the world. Like a domino effect that first starts incredibly small in scale and gets larger and more extreme as it goes on, the balance of this world is nearing its end. Foo, my heart hasn't raced this much in many millennia. Rimuru Tempest, I want to be a part of whatever you have planned for this world. But plans to move there aside, I should ask what Guy thinks of this. I doubt he would do much even if he opposed the idea, but I should still ask for his opinion. Many eons ago, I was appointed by my elder brother to watch over Guy since he was tasked with mediating the world. That became my duty for thousands of years and I didn't really do much besides making sure he did his job right. Guy and I settled in a ruined castle in the northern continent and turned it into our base of operations. Since the area was more or less barren and devoid of life, I was able to freely release my aura for years on end. Eventually, the castle and even the entire continent froze over due to the unique nature of my aura. As for the ice continent and the frozen palace, I'm confident that even if I went away for centuries, not a single drop would melt. If it did by some chance, I could simply return to the continent for a while and it'll return to its frozen state in no time. Having made my decision, I walked over to Guy, who was currently doing nothing besides watching over the remaining demon lords having a discussion. Guy, I have a question, I said, putting my hand on his shoulder to get his attention. Oh, what is it? He asked while turning around to face me. I've decided that I'll be accompanying Rimuru Tempest and Veldora back to their nation. I wanted to know your thoughts or if you'll oppose my decision, not that you could do much even if you did, I said with a somewhat serious expression. Ha ha ha. Did that slime really catch your attention? Or is it to monitor Veldora? He asked light-heartedly. As expected, he wasn't too intimidated, but he was genuinely curious about my motives. The answer would be yes to both questions. So, are you opposed to this idea? I asked again, this time much calmer since he didn't look against it at all. Not at all, you do you. But what about the ice continent and this frozen palace? Without your constant flow of magicules, wouldn't all the ice melt? He questioned, although he didn't sound too concerned. He had grown somewhat accustomed to the frozen state of the palace and continent, but probably didn't care if it came back to normal. Foo, rest assured, Guy. It will take centuries for even a drop to melt, and I could simply return from time to time to restore the continent, I reassured confidently. Then there's no problem. You should go talk to those two about your decision though, he said with an approving nod while pointing at Rimuru and Veldora. Nodding at his response, I gracefully walked over to the two in question. When I got near them, Rimuru looked surprised while Veldora looked confused. "Oh, Velzard-san. What brings you here? Also, thanks for showing us the world of stopped time," he said gratefully with a light bow. Well, this is surprising. I wasn't expecting that," I replied to his gratitude with a smile and a nod. Thanks to you, Velzard nay, Rimuru and I have become even stronger now. Kuahahahahaha. Veldora proclaimed excitedly while also showing his gratitude to me. "You may have changed, but deep down, you're still the same, Veldora-kun. Then may I ask a favor from you too as thanks for my contribution?" I asked with a smile. "I'm going to disguise my stay in Tempest as a favor that I'll be asking from these two." Rimuru had a look of surprise, not expecting my question. It's certainly an honor to get asked a favor directly from the one and only White Ice Dragon. Although my capabilities are certainly nothing compared to yours, Velzard-san, so I'm afraid I don't have much to offer you, but I'll do what I can," Rimuru replied earnestly with a cheerful yet determined expression. He's incredibly humble, maybe even too humble. Don't sell yourself short, Rimuru-san. Being able to move in stopped time is no small feat, you know. Not even the other true dragon or Milam can do it. I replied truthfully. His humility is a good character trait and is certainly way better than being arrogant and overconfident. But one should also never underestimate themselves, especially if they're clearly capable. Is that so? I'm honored to receive your praise, Velzard-san. So about that favor you wanted, what is it? He asked curiously. You see, I would like to accompany you two back home since I plan on staying in your nation for some time. Would that be all right, Rimuru-san? Veldora-kun? I asked politely and in a casual tone. What?